chapters 1 through 6 of the book of Ezekiel, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are public domain. For more information or how to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 1 through 6 of Ezekiel, from the Young's Literal Translation. Chapter 1. And it cometh to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th of the month, and I am in the midst of the removed by the river Chebar. The heavens have been opened, and I see visions of God. In the 5th of the month, it is the 5th year of the removal of the king Jehoiakim, hath the word of Jehovah certainly been unto Ezekiel, son of Buzi the priest, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar. And there is on him there a hand of Jehovah. And I look, and lo, a tempestuous wind is coming from the north, a great cloud, and fire catching itself, and brightness to it round about. And out of its midst as the color of copper, out of the midst of the fire, and out of its midst is a likeness of 4 living creatures, and this is their appearance. A likeness of man is to them, and 4 faces are to each, and 4 wings are to each of them, and their feet are straight feet, and the sole of their feet is as a sole of a calf's foot, and they are sparkling as the color of bright brass, and hands of man under their wings, on their 4 sides, and their faces and their wings are to them 4. Joining one unto another are their wings. They turn not round in their going, each straight forward they go. As to the likeness of their faces, the face of a man and the face of a lion toward the right are to them 4, and the face of an ox on the left are to them 4, and the face of an eagle are to them 4. And their faces and their wings are separate from above, to each are 2 joining together, and 2 are covering their bodies. And each straight forward they go, whither the Spirit is to go, they turn not round in their going. As to the likeness of the living creatures, their appearances are as coals of fire, burning as the appearance of lamps. It is going up and down between the living creatures, and brightness is to the fire, and out of the fire is going forth lightning. And the living creatures are running, and turning back as the appearance of the flash. And I see the living creatures, and lo, one wheel is in the earth near the living creatures at its 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their works is as the color of beryl, and one likeness is to them 4, and their appearances and their works are, as it were, the wheel in the midst of the wheel. On their 4 sides, in their going they go, they turn not round in their going. As to their rings, they are both high and fearful, and their rings are full of eyes round about them 4. And in the going of the living creatures, the wheels go beside them. And in the living creatures being lifted up from off the earth, lifted up are the wheels. Whither the Spirit is to go, they go. Thither the Spirit is to go. And the wheels are lifted up over against them, for a living spirit is in the wheels. In their going they go, and in their standing they stand. And in their being lifted up from off the earth, lifted up are the wheels over against them, for a living spirit is in the wheels. And a likeness is over the heads of the living creatures of an expanse, as the color of the fearful ice, stretched out over their heads from above. And under the expanse their wings are straight, one toward the other. To each are 2 covering on this side, and to each are 2 covering on that side, their bodies. And I hear the noise of their wings, as the noise of many waters, as the noise of the mighty one in their going, the noise of tumult, as the noise of a camp. In their standing they let fall their wings. And there is a voice from above the expanse, that is above their head. In their standing they let fall their wings. And above the expanse that is over their head, as an appearance of a sapphire stone, is the likeness of a throne, and on the likeness of a throne a likeness as the appearance of man upon it from above. And I see as the color of copper, as the appearance of fire within it round about. From the appearance of his loins and upward, and from the appearance of his loins and downward, I have seen as the appearance of fire, and brightness is to it round about. As the appearance of the bow that is in a cloud in a day of rain, so is the appearance of the brightness round about. Chapter 2. It is the appearance of the likeness of the honor of Jehovah, and I see, and fall on my face. And I hear a voice speaking, and he saith unto me, Son of man, stand on thy feet, and I speak with thee. And there doth come into me a spirit, when he hath spoken unto me, and it causeth me to stand on my feet, and I hear him who is speaking unto me. And he saith unto me, Son of man, I am sending thee unto the sons of Israel, unto nations who are rebels, who have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me unto this selfsame day. And the sons are brazen-faced and hard-hearted, to whom I am sending thee. And thou hast said unto them, Thus said the Lord Jehovah. And they, whether they hear or whether they forbear, for a rebellious house they are, have known that a prophet hath been in their midst. And thou, son of man, thou art not afraid of them, yea, of their words thou art not afraid. For briars and thorns are with thee, and near scorpions thou art dwelling. Of their words thou art not afraid, and of their faces thou art not affrighted. For they are a rebellious house. And thou hast spoken my words unto them, whether they hear or whether they forbear, for they are rebellious. And thou, son of man, hear that which I am speaking unto thee. Thou art not rebellious like the rebellious house. Open thy mouth, and eat that which I am giving unto thee. And I looked, and lo, a hand is sent forth unto me, and lo, in it a roll of a book. And he spreadeth it before me, and it is written in front and behind, and written on it are lamentations, and mourning, and woe. Chapter 3. And he saith unto me, Son of man, that which thou findest, eat. Eat this roll, and go, speak unto the house of Israel. And I opened my mouth, and he causeth me to eat this roll. And he saith unto me, Son of man, thy belly thou dost feed, and thy bowels thou dost fill with this roll that I am giving unto thee. And I eat it, and it is in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he saith unto me, Son of man, go, enter in unto the house of Israel, and thou hast spoken with my words unto them. For not unto a people deep of lip and heavy of tongue art thou sent, unto the house of Israel, not unto many peoples, deep of lip and heavy of tongue, whose words thou dost not understand. If I had not sent thee unto them, they do hearken unto thee. But the house of Israel are not willing to hearken unto thee, for they are not willing to hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are brazen-faced and strong-hearted. Lo, I have made thy face strong against their face, and thy forehead strong against their forehead. As an adamant harder than a rock I have made thy forehead. Thou dost not fear them, nor art thou affrighted before them, for a rebellious house are they. And he saith unto me, Son of man, all my words that I speak unto thee receive with thy heart, and with thine ears hear. And go, enter in unto the removed, unto the sons of thy people, and thou hast spoken unto them, and hast said unto them, Thus said the Lord Jehovah, whether they hear or whether they forbear. And lift me up doth a spirit, and I hear behind me a noise, a great rushing. Blessed is the honor of Jehovah from his place. Even a noise of the wings of the living creatures touching one another, and a noise of the wheels over against them, even a noise of a great rushing. And a spirit hath lifted me up, and doth take me away, and I go bitterly in the heat of my spirit, and the hand of Jehovah on me is strong. And I come in unto the removed at Tel Ahib, who are dwelling at the river Chebar, and where they are dwelling I also dwell 7 days, causing astonishment in their midst. And it cometh to pass at the end of 7 days, that there is a word of Jehovah unto me, saying, Son of man, a watchman I have given thee to the house of Israel, and thou hast heard from my mouth a word, and hast warned them from me, in my saying to the wicked, Thou dost surely die, and thou hast not warned him, nor hast spoken to warn the wicked from his wicked way, so that he doth live. He, the wicked, in his iniquity dieth, and his blood from thy hand I require. And thou, because thou hast warned the wicked, and he hath not turned back from his wickedness and from his wicked way, he in his iniquity dieth, and thou thy soul hast delivered. And in the turning back of the righteous from his righteousness, and he hath done perversity, and I have put a stumbling block before him, he dieth, because thou hast not warned him. In his sin he dieth, and not remembered is his righteousness that he hath done, and his blood from thy hand I require. And thou, because thou hast warned him, the righteous, that the righteous sin not, and he hath not sinned, he surely liveth, because he hath been warned, and thou thy soul hast delivered. And there is on me there a hand of Jehovah, and he saith unto me, Rise, go forth to the valley, and there I do speak with thee. And I rise and go forth unto the valley, and lo, there the honor of Jehovah is standing as the honor that I had seen by the river Chebar, and I fall on my face. And come into me doth a spirit, and causeth me to stand on my feet. And he speaketh with me, and saith unto me, Go in, be shut up in the midst of thy house. And thou, son of man, lo, they have put on thee thick bands, and have bound thee with them, and thou goest not forth in their midst. And thy tongue I cause to cleave unto thy palate, and thou hast been dumb, and art not to them for a reprover, for a rebellious house are they. And in my speaking with thee I do open thy mouth, and thou hast said unto them, Thus said the Lord Jehovah, the hearer doth hear, and the forbearer doth forbear, for a rebellious house are they. Chapter 4. And thou, son of man, take to thee a brick, and thou hast put it before thee, and hast graven on it a city, Jerusalem, and hast placed against it a siege, and builded against it a fortification, and poured out against it a mount, and placed against it camps, yea, set thou against it battering rams round about. And thou, take to thee an iron pan, and thou hast made it a wall of iron between thee and the city, and thou hast prepared thy face against it, and it hath been in a siege, yea, thou hast laid siege against it. A sign it is to the house of Israel. And thou, lie on thy left side, and thou hast placed the iniquity of the house of Israel on it. The number of the days that thou liest on it, thou bearest their iniquity. And I have laid on thee the years of their iniquity, the number of days, 390 days. And thou hast borne the iniquity of the house of Israel. And thou hast completed these, and hast lain on thy right side a second time, and hast borne the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days, a day for a year. A day for a year I have appointed to thee. And unto the siege of Jerusalem thou dost prepare thy face, and thine arm is uncovered, and thou hast prophesied concerning it. And lo, I have put on thee thick bands, and thou dost not turn from side to side till thy completing the days of thy siege. And thou, take to thee wheat, and barley, and beans, and lentils, and millet, and spelt, and thou hast put them in one vessel, and made them to thee for bread, the number of the days that thou art lying on thy side, 390 days, thou dost eat it. And thy food that thou dost eat is by weight, 20 shekels daily, from time to time thou dost eat it. And water by measure thou dost drink, a 6th part of the hin, from time to time thou dost drink it. A barley cake thou dost eat it, and it with dung, the filth of man, thou dost bake before their eyes. And Jehovah saith, Thus do the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread among the nations whither I drive them. And I say, Ah, Lord Jehovah, lo, my soul is not defiled, and carcass and torn thing I have not eaten from my youth, even till now, nor come into my mouth hath abominable flesh. And he saith unto me, See, I have given to thee bullock's dung instead of man's dung, and thou hast made thy bread by it. And he saith unto me, Son of man, lo, I am breaking the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they have eaten bread by weight and with fear, and water by measure, and with astonishment they do drink, so that they lack bread and water, and have been astonished one with another, and been consumed in their iniquity. Chapter 5. And thou, son of man, take to thee a sharp weapon, the barber's razor thou dost take to thee, and thou hast caused it to pass over thy head, and over thy beard, and thou hast taken to thee weighing scales, and apportioned them. A 3rd part with fire thou dost burn in the midst of the city, at the fullness of the days of the siege. And thou hast taken the 3rd part, thou dost smite with a weapon round about it. And the 3rd part thou dost scatter to the wind, and a weapon I draw out after them. And thou hast taken thence a few in number, and hast bound them in thy skirts, and of them thou dost take again, and hast cast them unto the midst of the fire, and hast burned them in the fire. Out of it cometh forth a fire unto all the house of Israel. Thus said the Lord Jehovah, this is Jerusalem. In the midst of the nations I have set her, and round about her are the lands. And she changeth my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the lands that are round about her. For against my judgments they have kicked, and my statutes they have not walked in them. Therefore thus said the Lord Jehovah, because of your multiplying above the nations that are around you, in my statutes ye have not walked, and my judgments ye have not done, according to the judgments of the nations that are round about you, ye have not done. Therefore thus said the Lord Jehovah, Lo, I am against thee, even I, and I have done in thy midst judgments before the eyes of the nations. And I have done in thee that which I have not done, and that which I do not its like again, because of all thine abominations. Therefore fathers do eat sons in thy midst, and sons eat their fathers. And I have done in thee judgments, and have scattered all thy remnant to every wind. Therefore I live, an affirmation of the Lord Jehovah, because my sanctuary thou hast defiled with all thy detestable things, and with all thine abominations. Mine eye pitieth not, and I also spare not. Do not even I also diminish? Thy third part, by pestilence they die, and by famine are consumed in thy midst. And the third part, by sword they fall round about thee. And the third part, to every wind I scatter, and a sword I draw out after them. And completed hath been mine anger, and I have caused my fury to rest on them. And I have been comforted, and they have known that I, Jehovah, have spoken in my zeal, in my completing my fury on them. And I give thee for a waste, and for a reproach among nations that are round about thee, before the eyes of every passer-by. And it hath been a reproach and a reviling, an instruction and an astonishment, to nations that are round about thee, in my doing in thee judgments, in anger and fury, and in furious reproofs, I, Jehovah, have spoken. In my sending the evil arrows of famine among them, that have been for destruction, that I send to destroy you. And famine I am adding upon you, and I have broken to you the staff of bread. And I have sent on you famine and evil beasts, and they have bereaved thee, and pestilence and blood pass over on thee. And a sword I do bring in against thee. I, Jehovah, have spoken. Chapter 6. And there is a word of Jehovah unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face unto mountains of Israel, and prophesy concerning them. And thou hast said, Mountains of Israel, hear ye a word of the Lord Jehovah. Thus said the Lord Jehovah to the mountains, and to the hills, to the streams, and to the valleys, Lo, I am bringing in against you a sword, and I have destroyed your high places. And desolated have been your altars, and broken your images, and I have caused your wounded to fall before your idols, and put the carcasses of the sons of Israel before their idols, and scattered your bones round about your altars. In all your dwellings the cities are laid waste, and the high places are desolate, so that waste and desolate are your altars, and broken and ceased have your idols, and cut down have been your images, and blotted out have been your works. And fallen hath the wounded in your midst, and ye have known that I am Jehovah. And I have caused some to remain, in their being to you the escaped of the sword among nations, in your being scattered through lands. And remembered me have your escaped among nations, whither they have been taken captive, because I have been broken with their heart that is going a-whoring, that hath turned aside from off me, and with their eyes they are going a-whoring after their idols, and they have been loathsome in their own faces, for the evils that they have done, all their abominations. And they have known that I am Jehovah. Not for naught have I spoken to do to them this evil. Thus said the Lord Jehovah, Smite with thy palm, and stamp with thy foot, and say, Alas, for all the evil abominations of the house of Israel, who by sword, by famine, and by pestilence do fall. The far off by pestilence dieth, and the near by sword falleth, and the left and the besieged by famine dieth, and I have completed my fury upon them. And ye have known that I am Jehovah, in their wounded being in the midst of their idols, round about their altars, on every high hill, on all tops of mountains, and under every green tree, and under every thick oak, the place where they gave sweet fragrance to all their idols. And I have stretched out my hand against them, and have made the land a desolation, even a desolation from the wilderness to Diblath, in all their dwellings. And they have known that I am Jehovah. The end of chapters 1 through 6 of the book of Ezekiel, from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. Recording by Mark Penfold.